Terrorism and violent extremism remain one of the most pressing security challenges confronting the West African sub-region. From the Sahel to the Lake Chad Basin, extremist groups continue to threaten peace, stability, and development. In recent years, West Africa has witnessed a surge in terrorist attacks, kidnappings, and violent extremism, spreading across borders and destabilizing states. But across the region, a renewed commitment is emerging, one that combines military response with preventive measures rooted in community engagement, education, and faith-based initiatives. In a renewed effort to strengthen regional peace and stability, Islamic scholars, clerics, and leaders from across West Africa and the Sahel have converged for the West African Islamic Conference on Security and Governance, focusing on the role of Islamic organizations in countering terrorism and violent extremism. Discussions centered on how Islamic organizations can collaborate with governments and regional bodies such as ECOWAS and the African Union to strengthen peace building, promote religious education, and counter extremist ideologies through community engagement. On this episode of Nigeria Today, our guests will be examining the ongoing efforts by governments, regional organizations, and community stakeholders to counter this growing menace. I'm a carrier, Clinton. Thanks for joining us. With me in the studio to discuss countering terrorism and violent extremism in West Africa is the National Secretary, Jamiatu Ansardin, Dr. Muhammad Al-Qasim Yahaya. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you.
Also with me in the studio is Sayyid Muhammadu Mujtaba Kushirki. He's a Director, Media and Publicity of Jamiatu Ansardin. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Now, before we go into the conference, I would like you to, talk to us. How would you describe the current state of terrorism and violent extremism in West Africa? I'll start with you.
Okay. Thank you for having us to come to this. It's a great opportunity for us to showcase what we wanted to do or what we are doing. And issue of terrorism in Africa, it's becoming so rampant because due to a lot of things that are happening all over the African nation, considering lots of killing, the banditry, the terrorism. Many nations are getting involved and a lot of people are being killed, and that's what the premise of why we decide to come together as an organization to look at these critical structures of what do we do to contribute as an individual organization to see that this thing is addressed. We realize a lot of things that are happening within the society. Probably maybe a certain group of people are not involved in making decisions. And security is all our own concern. It's not only government, also as community and responsible organization, we felt we have to come together to make this discussion and probably provide solution to government and give them what they expect to see the green light of addressing the issue. Well, terrorism is a global thing. It's not only in Africa, it's globally. There is a lot of terrorist activities, of extremist activities concerning individuals, though it's a criminality and it should be condemned. And as an organization, we condemn any act of terrorism and any act of extremism. We respect fundamental human rights of every person. We respect the rights of every citizen to whatever you want to do, your faith and belief and whatever. Though we are a religious organization, we respect that, and as such, we are trying to bring a different kind of dimension to this outlook of trying to address fundamental issues that affect humanity.
Thank you very much, Saidi Muhammadu. So now to you, Dr. Yahya. having heard Saidi talk about, what the religious organizations are doing to ensure that we don't have these kinds of situation, or we curb it in this part of the world, talking about the West African region. Yes. Now, tell us more about this conference. It's being held in Nigeria. Okay, so tell us what it seeks to achieve. Why Nigeria?
Thank you very much for that. From what he has said, from the statistics available, about 51% of the global related deaths arising from terrorism is from the Sahelian region. And West Africa contribute high in terms of these challenges. And also, if you look at some of the root causes, some of the issues we have, our people running on the streets, they're out of school, which is in Nigeria is estimated about 18.3. We thank God for the holistic education policy, this national policy of education, trying to look at this elementary education generally, also not out of school, but also for inclusivity, to be included generally to avoid dominance. We recognize the effort of government is doing on that generally to solve that problem. So apart from that, again, we find that so many challenges within West Africa generally. 2024, some people normally travel from Nigeria through buses to go to Senegal for some spiritual visits, actually who are Muslims, member of the organizations. But within Burkina Faso, they were attacked by unknown people, and immediately 20 people were killed instantly. And in 2023, something like that, higher numbers. And because of that, we have to stop those movements within those areas. And we have so many challenges we record as people, generally within West Africa, because the membership of this organization and also the brotherhood is cut across all the West Africans. Today, we are one of the largest groups in Nigeria with over 40 million fellowship, and also within West Africa. So we are really affected by what is happening. If you look at what we're experiencing today generally in the society, it's not something to be happy at. Government is trying their own best at all approaches, kinetic, non-kinetic approaches. Everywhere we're talking about it generally, but this thing has turned to something else. About kidnapping, people has turned into like a business generally. We need inclusivity. We need to look at all the stakeholders involved, community, people, particularly if you look at West Africa, the influence enjoyed by religion leaders, Christian clergy leaders, Muslim leaders like us, the influence we have, if we come, we commit ourselves, we organize ourselves through this movement, particularly using ECOWAS also as an umbrella for West Africa, generally coming together with the AU to come with some holistic thinking and also a way forward, particularly on the non-kinetic means at link it to bring a proper solution. So the whole idea of the conference is always on this thing. If you look at the population of Nigeria, also how we are beginning to be affected, though we know Niger, Mali, and Burkina, they are more affected generally by these terrorist-related deaths, more than even Nigeria, despite our number. But being that Nigeria, how we are central to the West Africa, everything, we have chosen that we agree with ECOWAS as co-partners. We sit together to really talk heart to heart, not just university professors and others, no, but really as community leaders, as religious leaders that are influenced through all the cycle of religious leaders in Nigeria and also within West Africa. All the scholars come together, rub their minds, and also see how do we contribute to these various governments in West Africa to really contribute our quota, to really see a change in this situation, particularly using ECOWAS also to really lead this initiative.
Okay, thank you very much for that opening remark. Now, Saidi also talks so much about this terrorism and violent extremism. What are the major drivers fueling these, this kind of act, this terrorism, and of course the violent extremism across Africa, and of course also to talk about our own home, Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you. The causes of all this is terrorism and extremism. Largely, it's I would say activities of government activities of individuals, the political actors, the actors that are involved in governance, the welfare packages that takes care of the people, collapse of the Libyan collapse, movement of the small arm from Libya to part of the Sahel and West Africa, caused a lot of security challenges and other things like that. And because we decided to abandon the community approach involving faith organizations like this, involving community leaders to address issues that in every community, in every faith organization, we know who is who in the society, we know who comes into a community. We failed to address this issue, abandoning that. A lot of people are not looking into their neighbor, looking into their humanity. What do we address? And because the state policies, some of the state policy, I wouldn't say most of the state policies, some of the state policies doesn't target the particular set of people that they're really critical to the sustenance of this environment. A lot of policies are coming from the United Nations with governments in Nigeria, welfare packages in Nigeria. All these welfare packages are trying to address the issue of divide between the rich and the poor, between the divide between those that have and those that don't have. And you shouldn't expect somebody that have an empty stomach, hungry, means of livelihood. How do he survive? And to him, seeing small arm coming to him, he can use it for anything violent and whatever. Those are the critical things that cause most of this terrorism in our society. And looking at West Africa, looking at the trend that started about 10 to 20 years ago, as my national secretary pointed out, it has created a different dimension that we have to look critically into ourselves. Are we really addressing the societal problems? Are we taking every person along? The faith leaders are there. Nobody cares to look into them. The Al-Majri education that we're trying to look at, the teachers that handle the Al-Majri child is left to go to the street and hunt for food. Even to where he sleeps, nobody cares. And they're bringing it down to the Nigerian setup in which every citizen have a fundamental right as enshrined in the Constitution. Do we really care about these people? So if we decide the government should start looking into organizations like ours and other organizations to look at the welfare of the people, try to address these issues that really mellow down on the stomach, and also mellowing down to people really being taken along in governance. So it will address most of these issues we're having. But if we keep on shedding shadows and looking at the kinetic aspects and empowering most of it, militarizing the situation, the things can deteriorate to the level that we don't expect. So I think as a society, we need to critically look into ourselves, and that is why we are convening this conference to bring our renowned scholars all over West Africa and to discuss about this issue. And thank God your correspondents were there. They've seen the kind of quality of discussion that is going on, very highly qualitative discussion coming from Islamic community. And I believe if governments of West Africa and in Nigeria in particular can look into some of these things that we're trying to bring in, certain issues will be addressed.
Okay, now, Doc, I want you to speak to the issue of, it's a good thing that, faith organizations such as yours is coming together, bringing stakeholders together to address this issue of terrorism and violent extremism. I want you to speak to the issue of, people thinking that this has got to do, that Islam is associated with violence. I want you to speak to that issue.
Thank you very much. Actually, I will say not Islam, but religion. If you look at humanity, religion actually saves humanity. And terrorism actually is an opposite generally to preserving humanity. So if you look at religion generally, no religion support terrorism, not Islam, not Christianity, not anything. The purpose of religion is to refine, is to make people really value human and humanity. Any religion that does not do that is not even a religion, generally, talk less of Islam. Islam, we know generally that the Quran that emphasizes for you generally to kill a single soul is so as if you have killed the whole universe, the whole humanity. And for you generally to save or to keep a soul is just as if you have survived or you have killed, you have saved the whole human fold. So what we are talking here is that there's no basis, there's no relationship at all to talk about Islam as well as all these activities generally going on. All of us know clearly, no sincere, true Muslim that feels human blood in him, that he's a human being, actually will carry arms or think about killing someone or everything. Even in the history of this country, Nigeria, we know how we are living. You see some societies in the home, they have Muslims, they have Christians in the same family, but we live in peace, we live all this. All these things we are coming to see is a different things we cannot understand, people generally. And all these things comes, nobody chooses. Nobody chooses whether you are a Muslim or you are a Christian. People kills anyhow, generally. So we must draw a clear line between terrorism and religion. They are not related. I always tell our people when they ask me, I say, how do they assume now the whole world without religion? How will the humanity be in terms of justice, social equity in the society? How do you feel? How do you look at how the influence Islam has in West Africa and the world? To see without that influence and without that that uniting force, that guiding force, that spirituality guiding people, how do you think people just behave on their own? Do you think this world will be comfortable to live? So we should look at how positive religion has been influenced. If you look at even the Western world, the EU, everywhere, they look at influence of some religious personalities in regulating society, and they are respected and they are recognized. And so that is what we are talking. And we're happy AU, ECOWAS, now they are believing to look at that. Generally, their influence, not Muslim, Christians, even other religions, generally, because they regulate, they reform, and they touch people generally. Today, in some places, you don't have cameras, but if you keep your money or you keep something, somebody, as a faithful, will be ready to see it and return it to you. Why? Because of that regulating force. Today, we have influence, we have influential leaders within Africa. If today they say, don't go out, people will, if they say fast, people will fast. If they say sit at home, they will sit. Generally, more influential, even than some political leaders, generally. So I think the high time we value that single asset to see that, as I said, come together, unify, and look at inward our problems and how we solve them, which affect all of us, the Christians, the Muslims, all of us. This issue is anti-human, generally. If, of course, just assume, if you are just walking on the street now, you see some people just killing, macheting somebody. In the morning now, you are just coming to work and you see some people, what do? You stop, and everybody will stop. If you have the power to stop that person, you stop. But you not ask, are you a Muslim or Christian? This, what is fundamental there? Because it's a human being. So we must begin to see ourselves as human, generally. The Quran told us, Allah has created us from male and female, also from nations, and make us nations and communities, so that we may know ourselves and value and respect ourselves. If you are a Christian, I should know you, respect you, and value you. If you are a Muslim, respect me and value me. We are living in the same planet. I must respect one another and also live peacefully on that planet. So the issue relating, it's honestly, is an issue, it's an area I don't even want to answer. Relating, because Islam is far. There's no relationship, no correlation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You want to add something to that? Because
actually, humanity is humanity, and no any religion harbors or promotes killing. We don't. And I am surprised to be hearing it even in the social space, saying Islam promotes killing. I don't know. There is nowhere. Nobody teach me that. I'm taught to be humble to myself, to my community, to my neighbor. And we grew up like that. In the north, it's like that. But all of a sudden, I don't know what's happening. So we don't know. We need to address this issue. So
would it be right to say then that some of these people that promote this kind of act are not real Muslims?
In the first place, You should start
They're
asking.
not even Muslims at all.
You should start asking, are they Muslims?
Okay, they're not Muslims at all.
If I will carry a gun now and said I would shoot into you, no, come on, no. We live in a society that we should respect ourselves. And I don't think killing somebody, will it change anything as a faithful person? It will never change anything. If a politician has his extreme groups and whatever, and he's directing them, religion leader climb the rosary and address his faithfuls, do this and do this. The religion is very clear. Nobody will climb that place and tell his followers kill. Nobody. And we don't do. And as an organization, we respect humanity, as my secretary said. We respect humanity, so we don't.
Still, in that light, you also mentioned politicians, and we've had situations where some have argued that politicians use religion, to cause, kind of division among people. I also want you to speak,
Actually, is the lazy person that will use religion to bring it into politics. It's lazy person, and I leave it at that. If you want to address societal problems, policies, touch life, we're talking about the Almajiri child suffering on the street of Abuja, begging for food, and a politician one day will wake up and say he's bringing issues of religion. What about that faithful Almajiri child? Food is not given to him. Some of them sleep. If you go and see how an Almajiri child survives in his school, it's terrible. The sanitation, very poor. Nobody cares about looking down and where our neighbors keep us. So we're not talking about politics now. We're talking about humanity as my...
So what would be your message to people that, that are being used to foment trouble, all in the name of religion? Your message as we wrap up this program. Okay, you start from. Let me start from the from Doc.
As I said earlier, actually, when you were asking him that whether, as a Muslim faithful, how does he feel if someone negatively attacks someone or this and that, I will start by saying I think killing is anti-human. We must recognize that. We are not asking whether you are a Muslim or Christian. Are you a human being? Feeling that you want to take the life of another human being. Because it's anti-human. It's not, if you look at humanity, anybody taking the life of another person is not a human. It's not ordinarily. It's not safe. So, generally, what we are seeing today and what things happening, as I said earlier, the central message is we cannot leave this to government alone. Particularly this present government, Mr. President is trying his best. The Minister of Defense, the security agencies, they are trying their best in what we are seeing. Because this is a guerrilla battle. These people say kidnappers, terrorists, this and that. They are not people face to face facing them. Even the countries of the world with their sophisticated distance, we know how naturally it's not that the rate of that distance is 0%. But actually what is happening needs all our collaborations, needs our supports, the community leaders, the religious leaders, to work with our securities to see that from mind we want to end these problems generally. And also another aspect is we talking day and night, telling them the reality that all these things are happening, whether we are Muslims, we are Christians, they are anti-humanity and they have no space in religion generally. So maybe gradually these people will begin to reform. We'll get them and teach them. And also that this misperception and misconceptions about religion. Some people lie. They lie with religion to deceive and convince people. Some people feel maybe we are jihadists, we are this. That Islam has not come with.
Thank you.
So
Thank you very much,
it is a duty bound to educate generally.
Thank you very much, Doc. I really wanted you to clarify that because I may have met, a lot of my colleagues are, are Muslims. I've met some wonderful people, and I know that the Muslims are peaceful people. So it really hurts me as a person when I see people associating them with violence. So thank you very much for coming to clarify that on the program. Dr. Muhammad Al-Qasim Yahya is the National Secretary, Jamiyatu Ansaruddin. Thank you so much for coming on the program. And also I had Sayyid Muhammadu Mujtaba Kushirki, the Director, Media and Publicity of Jamiyatu Ansaruddin. Thank you so much for coming on the program. And thank you for being part of the program. I'm your carrier, Clinton. Goodbye.